Welcome back everybody, and this is part 12 on What If Kid Asta Meets Noelle's Mother. I do not own Black Clover or any of the characters in this video. Chapter 19. So we're heading to the underwater temple for our mission. Mother, Noelle, Nebra, Solid, Noelle, Courtney, and Asta all sat in the large living room so Asir could discuss the mission to them. That's right, Nebra. Asir nodded. And we're not the only ones going. The Amber Phoenix squad are joining us. At the mention of the new squad, Solid rolled his eyes in utmost irritation. Are you kidding me? Solid grit his teeth in frustration. The Silver Eagles squad is far better than them. Nebra pinched the bridge of her nose. Asir and Noelle sighed. Asta, Noelle and Courtney groaned. Solid. Asir began in an exasperated tone. The Amber Phoenix squad is still new to the kingdom. Therefore, it's our job as a far more experienced squad to help them out. Besides, I've already talked with Captain Fana and she agreed to this as I have. So does this mean you'll do the coronation after the mission, Mother? Noelle asked. Yes. Asir nodded. Which means once I'm queen, Noelle will take the mantle of captain of the Silver Eagles, though you were thinking of Nebra to be the Silver Eagles captain at one point, Mother. Noelle told her. Asir nodded at Noelle's words. Yes, I did, Asir admitted. But considering you're the eldest child of mine, Noelle, it's only natural that you would take my position as captain after the coronation for me to become the queen of the Clover Kingdom. She paused, then added, well, if we're all set with the mission briefing here, I will contact Captain Fana to let her know where to meet us at Riquet Beach, Mother. Noelle asked. Asir looked at Noelle and nodded. That's right, dear. Asir smiled. Which means swimsuit shopping. Assuming we don't have any here already, we will probably have to go swimsuit shopping anyway. Nebra spoke up. Because I don't think the Amber Phoenix squad members have any swimsuits. Wait, what do we need swimsuits for? Courtney questioned. To relax. Asta grinned. We aren't going to the beach to just sit around until the sun sets. That's boring. Asir laughed at Asta's reply to Courtney's question. Asta is right, Courtney. Asir told her. Regardless, the mission remains the same. Noelle spoke up. Wait until it's near midnight, then gather everyone outside when the monocurrents in the water are weak enough for Noelle to use Sea Dragon's cradle to get us down to the seabed temple. In that case, Nebra spoke up. Mother, you should contact Captain Fana to tell her to come here with her squad. Actually, Asir smiled. I will contact her to tell her we're going to her squad base. After all, her squad's base is closer to the Riquet Beach than we are. Dazu. What the heck? Sorry, Captain. Captain's elf counterpart. But this is necessary for the mission ahead. Dazu explained to both her captain and her captain's elf counterpart, how is coming to a store that sells swimsuits going to help us on our mission to the seabed temple? Elf Fana asked with a sweat drop. Captain Fana sighed. Like really? Dazu glanced at her pinkette captain. Think of the day as a good beach date with Mars. Dazu smiled at her innocently. Both Fanas looked at each other, then back at Dazu. After several seconds, Captain Fana's face became dark red, while Elf Fana just giggled as she tried to sneak away. Dazu. Captain Fana shrieked out of extreme embarrassment. Dazu just laughed at her captain's reaction. Despite Elf Fana trying to leave, Dazu took notice. Where are you going? Dazu questioned. Leaving. Elf Fana spoke nonchalantly. Before she could move another step, her human counterpart grabbed her. Nah, if I have to suffer through this shopping trip, so do you. Captain Fana told her elf counterpart. Elf Fana groaned loudly in response. This caused Dazu to smile again. Oh, relax. By the time we're done, the captain should be getting a call from Captain Asir. Dazu told the two pinkettes. Captain Fana and Elf Fana glanced at each other and sighed. Alright, fine. You win, Dazu. Captain Fana spoke in a defeated tone. Whew. Dazu brought the two into a store that sold clothing products, including swimsuits. After about 20 minutes, the three exit the shop with two bags which carried one swimsuit each. One for Captain Fana, the other for Elf Fana. But like Dazu said earlier before the trio entered the shop, Captain Fana's communicator blipped. Captain Fana unclipped it from her belt and answered it. This is Captain Fana. Captain Fana spoke. Fana dear. It's me, Captain Asir. Asir spoke as a screen with her face appeared. I'm calling to let you know that my squad is going to your squad's base to meet up. I hope that's okay with you. Yes, that's fine. Captain Fana confirmed. Me, my elf counterpart, and Dazu just left the shop for swimsuits. We should be back in about 20-ish minutes. Maybe less. Great. Asir smiled. I'll see you then. And with that, the Silverette Woman captain ended the call. The Silver Eagle squad members arrived at the Amber Phoenix squad base. Before Asir could knock, Bao answered the door. "Oh, Captain Asir." Bao spoke. "I see you and your squad came here for the meetup before the mission." "You mean more like we came here to pick you lot up for the mission." Solid grunted. "Be grateful we did so." Bao just raised an eyebrow at Solid's words, then stepped aside to allow the Silvas, Courtney, and Asta inside the base. Asir looked around the base in intriguement. She watched Asta and Noelle chatting with Lily and Freed, along with Mars. "If you're waiting on our captain's elf counterpart, and Dazu, they should be back soon." Valeria spoke up to Asir as she approached her. Asir glanced at Valeria and nodded. "Thank you," Asir remarked. "So, how do you like it here in Clover?" Valeria's expression became a quizzical one before she gave a light smile. "It's pretty great," Valeria replied before looking at Solid with a deep frown, who was trash-talking Mars. "I just do not like the arrogant nobles and royals." "Oh, I can understand that," Asir retorted. "Please pardon Solid though ... In all honesty, the soon-to-be former king of Clover is far worse than Solid from what I've heard from Captain Fana," Valeria remarked with a light laugh. "Which makes me happy that you're replacing him. And we're back." The Amber Phoenix and Silver Eagle squad members looked up to see Captain Fana, Elf Fana, and Dazu. "Ah, you're back." Lily smiled. "That's great. I still don't get why we need swimsuits if Noelle is going to use her Sea Dragon's Cradle spell to get us down to the Seabed Temple." Elf Fana muttered. "Oh, you'll see." Asir smiled. "Now I'm sad to inform you, Captain Fana, that not all of your squad will be coming." Captain Fana chuckled lightly. "That's fine," she replied. "Meshu, Vide, and Bao aren't much of fighters, and they are aware of this. But that means we get to go." Kabwi nodded. Anabi and Siona also nodded. "That's right." Asir confirmed. So when do we leave? Freed asked, a grin on her face. "Why not right now?" Captain Fana asked curiously as she turned to face Captain Asir. "So long as everyone is prepared for the beach, of course." Asir turned to Captain Fana and smiled approvingly. "Why not right now?" Captain Fana asked curiously as she turned to face Captain Asir. "So long as everyone is prepared for the beach, of course." Asir turned to Captain Fana and smiled approvingly. "I don't see why not." Asir retorted with Fanzel cheered, while Dominant, Alice, Mariella, and Mars all smiled. Mariella just chuckled at Fanzel's cheering at going to the beach. Dominant, then Alice, and Mars left the living room, are to go to their rooms to get ready to go to Riquet Beach with the Silver Eagles squad. "Oh heck yeah." Fanzel cheered as he proceeded to follow Dominant to their room. "The one time it's actually appropriate from him to not wear a shirt," Mariella remarked, causing the others to laugh. Solid grunted irritably before his attention to Courtney. "Hey taxi." Solid called to the perplet. "Make a portal to the beach already." Courtney looked up at Solid with an equally irritable glare. She was about to retort hotly, but Asir approached Solid and put a hand on his shoulder. Now Solid. Courtney is waiting on the Amber Phoenix squad members that are able to come for this mission to finish prepping." Asir told her second son. "Please have some more patience. And we're ready." Asir looked up to see Captain Fana, Vice Captain Mars, Elf, Fana, Fanzel, Dominant, Mariella, Kabwi, Anabi, Siona, Lily, Dazu, Alice, and Valeria crowding the threshold to the living room of the Amber Phoenix squad base, each of them carrying their own personal bags for sunscreen, their swimsuits, and a change of clothes inside. Finally, Solid spoke in exasperation. "Now make that portal already, taxi." All right, Courtney groaned, thus creating a portal. "Now all of you hurry up please. I can't keep it open forever." Shortly after saying that, both squad's members began to walk through Courtney's portal. Once everyone else had gone through, Courtney went through. The portal closed. Vide, Bao, and Mesha waved the ones going goodbye. This is relaxing." Captain Fana spoke in a relaxed tone as she put her arms behind her back as she sat in her beach chair. Asir was next to her, watching their squad members playing at the beach. "Yes it is," Asir spoke. "But while this is ultimately a mission, there is nothing wrong with relaxing at the beach and having some fun." She looked over to see Elf Fana and Valeria trying to teach the members from both squads unique techniques, Mana Method, and Ultimate Magic. "It looks like two of your squad members are trying to teach both our squads two special techniques that are unique to them and their culture. Asir then looked past them and towards the waters. Asta and Noelle are having some fun in the ocean. She smiled before turning back to face Captain Fana. You and Mars should join them. Captain Fana flushed, glancing over at Mars, then back at Asir. Maybe later. She looked over at Elf Fana and Valeria, who were training Dazu, Solid, Nibra, Fried, Lily, Mariella, Fanzel, and Dominant. Siona, Kabwi, and Anabi were sunbathing on their towels. Ugh, this is ridiculous. Solid growled. Why should we be training when we should be doing other things? Besides, you two are awful teachers. Both Elf Fana and Valeria looked at each other, then back at Solid with angry tick marks above their heads. Nibra waved her hands in an apologetic manner. I apologize for my little brother's behavior, you two. Nibra told them. Please, continue training us. She then grabbed Solid's left ear and whispered to him through her teeth. Be glad I'm doing this and not them. You hear me, Solid? Solid felt himself sweating, both inwardly and outwardly. Yes, Nibra. Solid spoke in a feared tone. Thus Nibra let go of him. Asir smiled in satisfaction. I'm glad my disciplinary techniques have reached Nibra as well as they have. Asir spoke towards Captain Fana and Mars. I take it you two had similar experiences. I mean, not really. Captain Fana stuttered, surprised by Asir's question. As you know, we were practically raised by Evanora and Lotus. Mars explained as he put his book down. Yes, and because of that, we never really saw our magic as a means to harm people. Captain Fana added. We always wanted to help people with our magic. Save those that need it. You know, is that why you went with the name Amber Phoenix for your squad? Asir inquired curiously. Captain Fana and Mars gasped, then looked at each other, then back at Asir and nodded. Yes. Both Mars and Captain Fana replied, but to be honest, Captain Fana began, looking up to see her squad members having fun during the training Elf Fana and Valeria were putting them through. I accepted the role as captain not because Wizard King Julius was excited to have a 10th Magic Knight squad in the Clover Kingdom, but because I wanted to give those in life a second chance. Evanora, Lotus, you, Captain Asir, and even Wizard King Julius. You all gave me and Mars a second chance at life, so it's only right that I do the same for others. Asir opened her mouth, then closed it as her lips formed a light smile. I'm happy to hear that, Fana. Asir smiled. After a few more hours of playing and training, the group of mages from both squads headed into the beach house to rest up for a few hours before the rest of the mission. However, both Asta and Noelle were outside. Asta, we should be inside with everyone else. Noelle told her childhood friend as they walked on the beach. But look at the sky. Asta spoke as he pointed up to the sky. It is beautiful tonight. Noelle followed Asta's gaze and felt herself smiling. Yeah, you're right. Asta grabbed Noelle's left hand with his right, surprising the silverette, but she allowed Asta to guide her. Where are we going, Asta? There's a patch of grass somewhere around here. Asta spoke. If I can find it, we can lay down on it and watch the stars. Noelle felt herself blushing. Oh, Asta. Noelle spoke, flustered. Oh, all right. Besides, it's not too bad outside anyway. Any colder and I'd want us to be inside. Right. Asta nodded with a grin. After about 10 more minutes of walking, Asta and Noelle found the patch of grass and laid down and looked up at the sky. So pretty. Noelle breathed as she glanced over at Asta. To her surprise, he seemed focused on something. Asta, you okay? Do you remember when your mother told us about my mother? Asta questioned softly. Noelle's expression softened. Yeah, I do. Noelle replied. Your mother was a very kind and compassionate woman from what I remember mother telling us. But what does this have to do with the mission? It doesn't. Asta admitted. I've just been thinking about her after seeing a photo Captain Asir has of my mother in her private office in House Silva. Since I never met my mother, I want to know about her and all. He turned to face Noelle and smiled. But the mission comes first. I can talk to your mother about her after the mission is over. However, Asta's grimoire glowed red and it floated out of his satchel. Asta and Noelle stood up immediately and covered their faces as high-energy winds blew right at them. What's going on? Noelle shouted at Asta over the intense energy surge from Asta's grimoire as it came at them. I dunno. Asta shot back. Kek. So you want answers on your mother, huh? Well then, I suppose a human like you deserves the truth, and I can give it to you. Asta gasped, as if remembering the sound of the voice. Before Asta and Noelle knew it, they were sucked into metaphorically speaking. Asta's grimoire. But in actuality, their minds were transported to the inside of the grimoire. Asta blinked several times before opening his eyes fully and looked around. Where are we? He wondered aloud. He looked over to next to him to see Noelle, who was out cold. Thus he proceeded to shake her gently. Noelle, wake up. 5 more minutes, mother. Noelle spoke in her sleep. This caused Asta to sweat drop. Noelle, I'm not Captain Assier, Asta told her. Noelle spoke more clearly as she sat up and rubbed her eyes before looking around. Whoa, so this is what the inside of a grimoire looks like, I guess. Asta shrugged. More specifically mine. Kek. That is correct. Asta and Noelle turned to see a male devil with white hair, red eyes, 2 bat-like wings, as well as 2 lines coming down from both sides of his face, as well as a line going from his neck down to his chest. Both Asta and Noelle began, gaping. The male devil's lips formed into a grin. Kek. Yes, I am Lieb. Lieb introduced himself to Asta and Noelle. And I will tell you what you want to know about my mother. Chapter 20. So this is what the inside of a grimoire looks like. Noelle wondered aloud as she looked around it, a curious look on her face. Asta just chuckled sheepishly at Noelle's question before shrugging. Uncertainty on his face. I guess. Asta shrugged. More specifically mine. Kek. That is correct. Asta and Noelle turned to see a male devil with white hair, red eyes, 2 bat-like wings, as well as 2 lines coming down from both sides of his face, as well as a line going from his neck down to his chest. Both Asta and Noelle began, gaping. The male devil's lips formed into a grin. Kek. Yes, I am Lieb. Lieb introduced himself to Asta and Noelle. And I will tell you what you want to know about my mother. Asta and Noelle stared at Lieb for a good few minutes before they both blurted out simultaneously. How do you know my Asta's mother? Lieb just gave the 2 an amused grin in response. Like I said, I will tell you, Lieb retorted. But before I do that, I believe it's best you know about me. About you. Asta repeated. Is that a problem? Lieb asked sharply. Asta then put his hands up in surrender. No. Not at all. Asta replied. I'm just surprised you'd tell us, considering you're a devil and all. On top of that, one would think you'd want something from Asta in return. Noelle added. Lieb closed his eyes, then reopened them. They flashed red for a brief moment. I will not deny that I am a devil. Lieb spoke. However, unlike me and other devils, you humans are lucky. For you see, once a devil is born, depending on their mana level, that's your rank. Forever. There's nothing you can do to change it, no matter how hard you try. Lieb paused for a brief moment to allow the information to sink into Asta and Noelle's minds, who both had stunned expressions on their faces, then continued. Because I had no mana, I was the lowest of the low. Flashback. Little over 14 years ago. As I said earlier, once a devil is born, their rank is determined by how much mana they have. The higher the mana pool, the higher ranked you are. But, if you have little mana, or in my case, no mana, then the other devils will pick on and torture the weaker devils. Because I had no mana, all the devils tortured me, torn to shreds over and over again. My blood tainted the black ground every single day. But then one day, one of the high-ranking devils threw me up at the sealed entrance to the human world, thinking I'd fall back down as million pieces. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Because I had no magic, I passed right through the barrier and into the human world. Despite this, the humans feared me, because I was a devil and called for the magic knights. After being chased and shot at from the magic knights with their spells, I eventually managed to get away. However, I was too weak to go on, so I had every intention to allow myself to die right there in the forest. But then, oh, you're awake. Great. I woke up in what appeared to be someone's house. I looked around me, and it appeared I was in a bed. I then looked up to the one who spoke. It was an ash blonde-haired woman with green eyes, wearing a dark blue vest, a white shirt that had sleeves that went to her elbows, brown shoes, and dark-colored pants, as well as having 2 belts strapped to her waist. One held her grimoire, and the other held a small bottle. I'm Lichita. Nice to meet ya. I was confused by where I was. Wasn't I dying not too long ago? So then why? And this is my house. Wah. I spoke softly. She's not afraid of me. You're not afraid of me. To my surprise, the young woman just laughed. Wahahaha. Why would I be afraid of an injured kid? Lichita laughed. surprising me further as she put her hands to her hips. Anyway, if we're talking about being hated, I can make you run for your money. She paused, then added, you see, I have this body that absorbs mana and life force. Because of that, I live in this house, by myself. My emotions went from confused and scared to sympathetic. Poorly Cheetah, I thought, being shunned by her own race because of a condition she can't control. Because of my condition, no one wants to be around me. Cheetah continued. Surprisingly, her solemn attitude changed to excited. But, I bet because you're a devil, and you have no mana to lose, you're also not losing your life. Force it to me. So listen. Lycida's grin widens. Stay here and be my kid. Wah. I gaped in utter surprise. Because of Lycida's stupid yet selfless decision, she changed my world for the better. We did everything together. And when I say everything, I mean everything. She even explained to me what her magic was and what it could do. But out of everything we did together, I loved Cheetah, mothers, cooking the best. After a few months, the matriarch of the royal house of Silva, Asir Silva, found Lycida's house and befriended us. At first, Cheetah was afraid that she'd kill the royal, so we kept our distance. But Asir was insistent. In fact, she managed to make a magic item that suppressed Lycida's body condition. That way, she could be around other people. After that, Asir visited our house as many times as she could. One day, we were outside chatting, and Cheetah said this to me. Just because you're a devil doesn't mean you're a bad guy. Cheetah told me, I was lonely, and you saved me from that. Thank you, Lieb. I began, but I didn't get to finish as I felt a dark and powerful presence enter my mind. Lieb, what's wrong? Cheetah cried out in concern for me. I am Lucifero. Lucifero spoke through me. What a find. To think a devil could live in the human world without a contract. I think I'll use this devil too. Who the hell do you think you are? Cheetah shouted as she grabbed my shoulders. Get out of Lieb's body. Insolent human. Lucifero scowled. Your interference is futile. Now, he then gasped as he felt his mana, despite his physical body being in the underworld, was being absorbed by Cheetah. She's absorbing my magic. Lucifero thought in utter shock. No, stop. Lucifero stammered out of my mouth, but that only got Cheetah to hold onto my body tighter. I won't let another child go, Cheetah vowed, remembering having to leave her first son with Asir Silva to bring to Hage village to protect him from her condition. In that case, Lucifero spoke through my mouth as he controlled my left arm and raised it up. No. Please no, I thought in utter horror as I watched helplessly in my own mind as my left arm plunged through Lycida's lower chest and through her lower back, thus causing her to cough up blood. No, Lucifero eventually recoiled out of my body, and to think a human like you could do this much to me. Lucifero growled before he recomposed himself. No matter. I'll eventually escape the underworld and give all you pathetic peons the hell you deserve. Ha 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 ha. And with that, Lucifero left my body. I felt Cheetah embracing me. I'm sorry. I'm a moron. Cheetah spoke softly. So I'll seal you inside the 5-leaf clover grimoire I found before I found you. That way, you'll be able to live without Lucifero ruining your life further. Cheetah, I whispered in astoundment as what she did. For me, I felt my physical body being moved from Lycida's arms and into the 5-leaf clover grimoire. Live Lieb. I saw her sad, bloodied smile. My beloved son. Just before my physical body was fully imbued inside the grimoire, I cried and let out one final word. Muum. Flashback end. Asta and Noelle's faces were filled with a multitude of emotions. Lieb, despite not having any mana or understanding how to read key, he could see it on the T's faces. The emotions Asta and Noelle were feeling. Anger, sadness, and sympathy. I'm so sorry, Lieb. Noelle whispered. That is horrible. Asta swallowed, agreeing with Noelle. And I didn't even get to know Mom like you did. Like you would ever understand. Lieb scoffed. Especially you, Silva girl. You lived a life of luxury. Noelle felt herself wince at Lieb's words. But it's as I said, humans get a chance to rise in the social status, while devils, and I'd presume angels too, can't rise up in that same fashion. He then laughed. But even then, humans have also fallen into this prejudiced way of thinking too. Just look at Clover Kingdom's history. The ruling house of Clover has kept it that way for centuries. Your mother, Asir Silva, becoming queen, will not make an immediate impact. You think I don't know that? Noelle frowned deeply. Mother is aware of that too. That's why she'll implement the change in the system gradually. Wait. Angels exist. Asta gasped, causing his devil brother and Noelle to sweat drop. And oh shit, dumbass. Noelle and Lieb snapped. If devils exist, so should their counterparts. The angels, Lieb explained. Just like the humans have elves and dwarves in their world. Kek. Asta put his hand to his chin, then a light bulb appeared above his head. This has nothing to do with that topic. But what if there was a way to get you out of my grimoire? Asta wondered. At this, Lieb gave Asta a quizzical look, while Noelle became concerned. Asta. Noelle breathed. You still have a physical body, right, Lieb? Asta continued. If that's the case, then maybe. Wizard King Julius can use his time magic to rewind the seal Mom put on you and the grimoire to release you from it, Asta. Noelle gaped in utter surprise. If that were to happen then, Lieb just laughed at Asta's idea. Kek. You stupid fool. Do you even realize what would happen to you if you went through that dumb idea? Lieb laughed. If you go through with that idea, then you'll become powerless. After all, anti-magic is my affinity, and the 5-leaf clover grimoire you hold, as well as the swords that you wield that go inside the grimoire, would become mine. Are you sure that you want that? Not just that, Noelle added, but you'd get expelled from the Magic Knights. Asta's light green eyes got shadowed as he lowered his head. You think I care? Asta spoke as he clenched his hands into fists, then raised his head back up, his light green eyes lighting up with determination. I want to help my brother, Noelle. Mom put Lieb into the grimoire to protect him from Lucifero, ruler of the underworld. Now that Lieb is older, he is, by degree, stronger. Lieb and Noelle stared at Asta in surprise. Asta. Noelle whispered, feeling tears fall down her cheeks. She quickly wiped them away, and smiled. If that's your decision, then I'll follow you. Kek. You both are idiots. Lieb snickered. Noelle. You don't have to. Asta told her, surprised by her words. Noelle looked at Asta and nodded. I don't mind, Asta. She smiled. We're lifelong friends. So in a way, it's only natural I'd follow your path of choice. Asta laughed lightly. Haha. Yeah. You're right, Noelle. Asta grinned as he wrapped his right arm around her. Lieb laughed mentally. Kek. So, mother, it seems your biological son has found the love of his life. Lieb thought as his lips formed a smile. Maybe someday. I can too. Suddenly, the three could hear voices from outside the grimoire, calling Asta and Noelle's names. Asta. Noelle. Wake up. The three heard. Lieb chuckled, then turned his attention to Asta and Noelle. Kek. You two lovebirds better get your minds back to your bodies. Lieb told them. You know, so your squad mates and Amber Phoenix squad members don't worry too much. Both Asta and Noelle felt their faces heat up. If the two could look in a mirror, they'd see that their faces are now dark red. Lieb took notice immediately and laughed. Kek. You two should see your faces. It's priceless. Kek. His teasing only made the D's face's facial color go an even darker shade of red. Oi. Asta and Noelle groaned loudly at Lieb's teasing. Shut up about it already. Their words, on the other hand, just made Lieb laugh more. He eventually stopped. Okay, I'll stop. He relented. But seriously, go. Right. Asta nodded as he turned on his heel and started to head towards the light with his right arm still around Noelle. Asta. Noelle. The two opened their eyes and noticed that their squad mates, as well as the Amber Phoenix squad members, were standing around them. Once those around them saw them open their eyes, they sighed in relief. Oh, thank goodness. Lily smiled tearfully. The hell happened to you two? Nebra questioned. Asta and Noelle looked at each other, then at the group of mages from both squads. The duo just chuckled. We'll tell you later. Asta and Noelle replied in unison as they stood up. What time is it? Noelle questioned. 10:45 at night. Valeria replied. Last I checked anyway. Asir nodded, then turned to Noelle. It's going to be 11 p.m. in about 15 minutes. Asir spoke. So Noelle, I'd suggest setting up Sea Dragon's cradle. Noelle nodded. Right, mother? Noelle retorted as she began to wave her arms. I need to make this big in order to fit all of us. At that, everyone went silent and watched as Noelle did her work. Distracting Noelle in any way, shape, or form could lead to disaster when it came to this type of water creation magic spell. Solid knew this all too well. After about a few minutes, a giant sea dragon's cradle was made, causing the Amber Phoenix squad members to be awed, while the Silver Eagles just smiled. Whoa. Freed breathed. Amazing. Lily agreed. Elf Fana. Captain Fana. Vice Captain Mars. Valeria Alice. Fanzel. Dominant. Mariella. Siona. Anabi. Cabwi. And Dazu were mesmerized for a good few seconds before realizing that the silver eagles had gone inside of it. We better get inside of it. Captain Fana spoke. Let's go. As soon as she went towards it, the rest of her squad followed. After both squads were inside Noelle's spell, Noelle thrusted her right arm forward, causing the cradle to head into the ocean and down. Seabed Temple, here we come. Members from both squads declared. End of chapter 20. Link down to the comments if you want to read the rest of the story. I hope you all enjoy. Goodbye.